Welcome in, everybody. I figured this afternoon I would kind of go over Skyliner 101 or how to use the Disney Skyliner. As I ride around the Skyliner going from different resorts and parks, I hear a lot of questions on where to transfer, how to transfer, do they get off here, do they not get off here? So I take for granted sometimes that I'm here all the time and I know where everything is and that everybody knows how to ride all the transportation. But that might not be the case. So today we're going to start here at the kind of main transfer station at the Caribbean Beach Resort and take each of these lines back and forth to their destinations so you can see how and where to get to everything on the Skyliner. Let's start with an overview of this Skyliner station. This is the largest one. This is where all three lines come together. This is the Caribbean Beach station. Right there is the Jamaica section of Caribbean Beach, and it is right off that. You have your Epcot line over here to the right as you come in. It goes to Epcot. It also goes through the Riviera. This is the only line that has two destinations on it. And we will go over how to navigate that when we do that line. Straight back is the Hollywood Studios line that'll take you to Hollywood Studios. It only has that stop, so it just goes there and back. Once you get to the other side, you do have to exit. You can't ride it back around. And then this is your Pop Century Art of Animation line. It is one stop at the end. The station sits between the two resorts. So just like the Hollywood one, when it gets to the other end, you do have to get off, then go around and get back on if you wanted to come back. Let's start here at the Pop Century Art of Animation line and get our tour going. All the lines, with the exception of the Riviera line, have a disability access, wheelchair access section. So they have these gondolas that sit still here and you can get into one without it moving. And then it gets into line and pushes in with the regular gondolas as one comes out. The Riviera is a little different, and when we get to that station, we will go over how that works. Here we will get on the line that goes out to Pop Century and Art of Animation. Now these do keep moving as you enter. I walk with a cane and it's not too fast for me, so I'm able to hobble in.
We are now gliding over the sparkling waters of Hourglass Lake. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the most magical flight on Earth.
Thank you. And here we are getting off at the Art of Animation Pop Century Resort stop. Like I said, when we entered, it is one stop for both resorts. If you want to get to Art of Animation, when you get out of here, you head to the right. You can see how close you are. It is right there. And Pop Century, the same, but the other way. And there is your Pop Century Resort. When you're riding this, you'll hear they say, the only floating Skyliner station at Walt Disney World Resort. This thing's not floating. It's on stilts. It's solid. But they call it a floating station, so I'm going to let them have it. That is where we got off. And to get on is just on the other side. And now we're going to take it back to Hollywood Studios. This is a quick flight. It was probably only about 5 minutes here, and it'll be about 5 minutes back as long as you don't get stuck. Hey, how are you? Or have somebody slow you down. They don't get stuck for long, they more just slow down. So let's catch a Skyliner back to the Caribbean.
Welcome aboard the Disney Skyliner at Disney's Pop Century Resort and Disney's Art of Animation Resort. We are on our way to Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort with connecting flights to Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot International Gateway.
Thank you. You too. Here we are, back at the main station. Next, we're going to head straight across and check out the longer Epcot line. Like I said earlier, it goes through the Riviera. You don't transfer anywhere there. The only time you would get off at the Riviera is if you were staying there or you wanted to eat at the Riviera or you had reservations over there. From this point, the Epcot line is the longest line. And because the Riviera does not have a wheelchair disability section, they have to slow it down almost to a stop over there to get wheelchairs on and off. So you'll see this line slow down a lot to allow for that to happen. So if you feel it slow down almost to a stop, don't worry, don't panic. It happens a lot on this line because people with disabilities need to get on and off at the Riviera. We are flying or gliding to Epcot right now. The next spot that the doors will open is at the Riviera. If you were going to Epcot, these doors would open and somebody would be there and say Riviera. If you were going to Epcot, do not get off. Just keep riding through the station. The station will turn and you will go off. It's not like all the other stations where it's going to turn around and take you back to where it was, or that you have to get off. The Riviera station is the only one that you can just sit through and ride through if you were going to Epcot. We, however, are going to get off, so that way I can show you how this station works, and then we'll pick up and go to Epcot, and then on the way back from Epcot, we'll ride through it so I can kind of show you how that process works. So we'll do it both ways, but first right now we're actually going to get off so I can give you kind of how this station works, and then on the way back from Epcot to the main terminal, we'll ride through. Hey, how are you?
Going to Riviera?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I see
Thank
that,
you.
please.
And then you can see how they just continue around and then back out towards Epcot. Hopefully you could hear it on camera. As we got out, that gentleman double checked that we were looking for Riviera, because a lot of people do get off there thinking that this is how you would get to Epcot. As you come out of the station, there is an internal shuttle service that can go over here, which would take you around to different parts of the Caribbean beach and Riviera, because this is the Caribbean beach right here. And then you have a walkway that takes you over to Riviera, and that is kind of where we're heading now, so I can show you how to get on and off this, because unlike other stations, since it doesn't stop and turn around, there are two different entrances and two different exits. For reference, we are at the side of the Riviera here. If you were going to take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios, or if you are getting off the Skyliner from Epcot at the Riviera, this is the section you would be using. So these people here, they are getting off from Epcot to the Riviera. Beside that is another gate that lets you in to go to the transfer station. So you can enter here to go to the transfer station and then transfer to go out to Hollywood Studios, or you will exit here if you're coming from Epcot. The other side of the line is around this walkway where we got off. And from there, you can take a gondola to Epcot, or get off from the transfer station like we did. As you're coming along the walkway, you'll see the sign here, to Epcot this way, and you will walk under the Skyliner line. So look for the sign, look for the Skyliners going overhead, and that's how you know you're heading in the right direction. They do have their operating hours over here, and they give them for all the resort lines, which is a little confusing because this line only goes to Epcot. That was the exit we got out of just a moment ago, coming from the transfer station. This is the entrance right beside it to keep continuing to Epcot. Getting on and off at the Riviera can be a little tricky because since it's in the middle of a line, people have gotten on at Epcot and are riding through back to the transfer station, and people at the transfer station at the Caribbean are riding through to Epcot. So not all the cars are empty. So you may wait a little longer for a ride at the Riviera. On the way to Epcot, you will hit this turning station. They call it a turning station, but it does not stop here. The doors do not open. This is not a place where you get off. It's just so the Skyliner can turn and head towards Epcot because they can't make turns in the air. Thank you. And here we are. Welcome to Epcot International Gateway. That is where we just walked down to get out of the Skyliner. And here is the International Gateway for Epcot. that leads you into World Showcase between the UK Pavilion and the France Pavilion. Also right here, you have a friendship boat dock that would take you to the Yacht Beach Club, the Boardwalk, the Swan Dolphin, and eventually to Hollywood Studios. However, down this path, it is a very short walk over across that bridge to the Boardwalk or straight ahead to the Beach Club. So if you had any reservations down there or just wanted to check those out, you could do that from this station. Again, that is where we exited, and the entrance is just right here beside it. Another thing that's interesting about this one is there is a restroom up here. So if before you get on the Skyliner, there is a restroom. There's also a restroom at the transfer station. There are restrooms close to Pop Century Art of Animation just outside the station, and there are restrooms by the bus stops at Hollywood Studios, which isn't too far. There is 2 lines for every one. So you'll see a lot of people follow just along and go, but if you see an empty one, you're more than welcome to just walk up. Nice thing about leaving Epcot is you do get some good views.
Welcome aboard the Disney Skyliner at Epcot International Gateway. We're flying to Disney's Riviera Resort with a final stop at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. We hope you enjoyed your visit to Epcot and World Showcase. Did you learn how to say hello in a different language today?
We're coming down into the Riviera Resort now from Epcot. The doors are going to open twice. Once for people that wanted to get out at the Riviera, then they'll close again, and then they'll open again for people that want to get on at the Riviera heading towards the transfer station. I'll kind of show you what that looks like now as we're coming down into it. Hey, how are you? Back to Hollywood.
Perfect.
Thank you. Yes, yep.
Thank you.
And here's the doors open to get out. So if you want to get out at the Riviera, and you can see there's a sign out there that says welcome to the Riviera, and the doors will close before we come and make a turn up here, and then they'll reopen when we get to where people get on to head to the transfer station in Hollywood. And then this is where the doors will open one more time, and if anybody was in line to go to Hollywood, they would be there. But there is no one. But you would not ever get off here. This is a get on entrance section. On the way back to the Caribbean station, you do get some good views of the Caribbean Beach Resort and Center Market over there.
What's that?
Hey, how are you? We are now back at the Caribbean Beach Resort and transfer station. You can see one of the signs here that tells you where you are and which way to go for everything else. One thing I did fail to mention at the intro and earlier in the video is that is the entrance to the station up those ramps. But right here is a Joffrey's. So if you are needing a pick-me-up, a caffeine, something cold to drink, or a snack, you can do that right here at the main Caribbean Beach transfer station. This is the last line we have to explore, the Hollywood Studios line. It is another very short trip. As long as you don't get stopped at all, this is 5 minutes or less from here over to Hollywood Studios. Thank you. And here we get off at Hollywood Studios. I'll show you the exit, and then we'll loop back around and end this by going back over to the Caribbean Beach transfer station. The boat stop we looked at over at Epcot's International Gateway, that is where it drops you off at Hollywood if you were interested in taking the boats. As you exit, you come right out here into this walkway. You can see the Skyliners going, maybe after the unboard, you can see the Skyliners back over there, your bus stops, and your security and entrance to Hollywood Studios is right here. So that is where we exited over there. This is where we will enter. Now, like all the other lines except for the Epcot one, this one goes just from Hollywood to the transfer station or the Caribbean Beach Resort, whichever you'd like to call it. Just like all the stations, it splits into 2 lines. They both go, they're both okay. People usually follow each other to the same one.
We hope you enjoyed your visit to Hollywood today. Now wave goodbye to your adoring fans below. Bye!
Hi. And there we have gotten off the line from Hollywood Studios and back to the Disney Skyliner main station, transfer station, Caribbean station. I'm not sure what you'd like to call it, but it is the main interpass here. Thank you for watching. I really hope you found this helpful. This is kind of my first how-to informational video like this. So like I said, hopefully I didn't make something more confusing. But again, thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys so much. If you like what we're doing, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And remember to treat each other with kindness.